The ship drifted in the dark like a dead whale. Its black hull was scarred and broken, floating near a cold red dwarf star. No signals, no movement. Milo, nothing but silence. Milo, a lone human salvager, approached in his small shuttle. The ship's name flickered on a rusted panel, DSS Vesper. He had never heard of it, and that made it valuable. Unknown wrecks often meant forgotten to canned forgotten credits. Beside him floated his drone. Patch, a small ball-shaped machine with blinking blue lights. Scan says oxygen inside is thin, but enough. Patch beeped. No life signs. Number threats. Milo nodded and landed the shuttle in the docking bay. Geared up, grabbed his flashlight, and stepped inside. Inside the ship, the air was cold and stale. Dust floated in the light. The walls groaned like something old and tired. Patch hovered close behind, scanning everything. No active systems, no AI, no power core. Strange. Milo moved carefully through the dark halls. He saw signs of battle blaster. Burns, shattered panels, dried blood, but no bodies. Only silence. He reached the central control room. Most of the systems were dead. But one file blinked faintly. Locked. He copied it and moved on. Farther below in the lower decks, doors were sealed tight with heavy locks. One hallway was warped by heat, as if something had burned through it long ago. At the end of that hallway was a steel door still intact. Milo forced it open with a plasma cutter. The air behind the door was colder. The lights barely worked, and then he heard it breathing. He raised his flashlight. There, in the center of a large metal chamber, was a cell. Its thick bars, its energy coils. Chains dot, and inside the cell sat a young, beautiful woman. She was barefoot, her arms resting in her lap, her head slightly bowed. Her hair was dark and loose, her skin pale under the flickering lights. She looked calm. It's almost peaceful. But her eyes glowed faintly, not like human eyes. Milo froze. "Who are you?" She looked up slowly. Her voice was soft, almost kind. "Please," she said, "don't free me." Milo stepped closer, unsure. "You're alive. That means I have to get you out of here." She shook her head. Her chains clinked with the movement. "No. These chains are not to punish me. They are to protect you." Milo frowned. "From what?" Her voice lowered to a whisper. "From me." Patch hovered near Milo. "Warning. Energy levels on those chains are high. They are active containment tools. Human-made, old design, classified tech." Milo stared. "You're human," she smiled weakly. "I was." He stepped closer to the cell, gripping the bars. "What happened to this ship? Why are you the only one left?" She closed her eyes. "They left me here. Long ago. Yeah, the crew couldn't kill me, so they locked me away." Milo felt a chill run down his spine. "Why?" She opened her eyes again. "Because sometimes humans create things they don't understand, and then they fear them." Patch beeped nervously. "Milo, her body shows genetic modifications. Some are alien, some are known." Milo ignored the warning. "How long have you been here?" "I don't remember. Years. Maybe more." She tilted her head. "I sleep, I dream, and sometimes I almost forget what I am." The cell was built with reinforced steel and energy locks. The chains were bolted into the floor and walls. It looked more like a vault than a prison. "You're not here by accident," he said. "No," she agreed. "They built this place for me, to hold what they couldn't destroy." Stepped back, trying to make sense of it all. "Then why did they leave the ship here? Why not destroy it?" Her face grew distant. "Because destroying me might have." Destroyed more than just this ship. There were side effects. So they decided to let me drift in the dark. Alone. She looked at him. Until you came, Milo felt a mix of pity and fear. She looked so human, so gentle. But something inside him warned this was not just a girl in chains. Do you have a name? He asked. She hesitated. They called me Rinna, but that name doesn't feel like mine anymore. Patch blinked red. Milo, we should leave now. Voice turned sharp. Yes, you should. Milo raised his eyebrows. But you said... I said don't free me. That was a warning. She looked away, her tone softer. You seem kind, so I'm telling you again, leave. Before something wakes up. Milo turned toward the door, conflicted. He had come looking. For salvage, not a mystery, not a secret weapon in the shape of a woman, but something about her calm voice. Her tired eyes made him pause. He stepped back to the bars. I'll come back. I want to understand. She didn't answer at first. Then she whispered, if you do, bring light. The dark is full of voices. Patch dimmed its light slightly, and then Milo heard it. Faint whispers from the walls. The air itself. Voices not human. Milo stepped away quickly. Back in his shuttle, Milo watched the wrecked ship from a distance. Patch floated beside him, quiet. He copied the locked file he found earlier and ran a scan. The file name chilled him. Project V9. Humanity's last mistake. Inside the file were logs, video clips, test reports. Screaming, he stopped reading. He looked back at the wreck. She had warned him, but curiosity burned in his mind like a fire. He wasn't done yet. Milo sat in the pilot seat of his small ship, staring at the wreck of the DSS Vesper through the window. It floated quietly like a ghost from the past. But now he knew. It wasn't empty. She was still there. The woman named Rinna. Human, but not fully alive, but dangerous. And those chains. They weren't alien. They were human technology. Milo turned to his drone Patch and said, show me the rest of that file, the one from the control room. Patch beeped, file marked, Project 529. Warning. Classified military data. Play it, Milo said. The screen lit up with an old video log. The face of a tired scientist appeared. His white coat was stained, and his voice was shaky. Test subject V9 shows advanced adaptability to dark matter fusion. We thought we could control it. We were wrong. More clips followed, brief flashes of test chambers, screaming, blood on metal walls, scientists running. Then one clip froze on Rinna's face. Younger, confused, scared, she begged us to stop, but we had gone too far. Milo felt his throat tighten. Rinna wasn't a monster by birth. They made her this way. He thought about leaving, just flying, away, forgetting it all. But her voice echoed in his mind. Please, don't free me. Why warn him if she was truly dangerous? Why stay chained when she could break free? Milo made a decision. He grabbed his gear and stepped out once more inside. The ship, the lights were dim. The halls were colder than before. As he walked, he noticed something strange. The walls had changed. Symbols glowed faintly on the metal, patterns he hadn't seen earlier. They looked almost alive. Patch scanned them. These are not part of the original ship design.
Oh.
Are growing? Growing? Milo asked. Unknown technology? Possibly linked to Subject V9's presence? Milo didn't like that answer, but he kept moving. He reached the lower hold again. The heavy door was still open. The chain still hummed with energy, and Rinna still sat there, waiting. You came back, she said softly. I had to, Milo replied. I saw the file. I know what they did to you. Rinna's eyes lowered. Then you understand why I'm here. I understand more than before, but not everything. He stepped closer to the cell. Patch hovered nervously behind him. Rinna looked at the drone. Your machine doesn't like me, Patch beeped. Correct? Rinna gave a faint smile. Smart machine. Milo looked at the chains. These were made by humans. They're designed to suppress something. What is it? She looked at him. Her voice turned quiet again. Something ancient. Something beside me. She explained slowly. The project was meant to help humans survive alien threats. They wanted to create a living weapon, part human, part energy, part dark matter. The scientists used forbidden tech found on an alien world. They tested it on animals first, then volunteers, then on her. She survived. But the process changed. Her. Something else woke up inside her. A presence, a force. It whispered to her. It tried to take over. The chains were designed to block that voice, to stop her from hearing it, and to keep the force locked inside. If the chains break, she said, I might not be able to stop it. Milo sat down outside the cell. You've held it back this long? Because I remember who I was. I remember being human. She touched the chains gently, but memory fades, and the voice grows stronger. Suddenly, Patch beeped loud. Warning. External signal detected. Unknown ship approaching. Ida. 5 minutes. Milo stood up. Who is it? Patch scanned. No ID signal. Not from Earth. Possibly scavengers. Rinna's eyes turned serious. They'll come here. They'll see me. And they might try to free me. Not out of kindness, but to use me. Milo clenched his fists. Can't let that happen. He turned to Patch. Lock the outer bay. Sealed the corridors. Play them. Patch beeped and flew off. Milo looked back at Rinna. Is there another way out? Somewhere safe? She shook her head. This is the only place strong enough to hold. Me. He stepped closer. Then I'll protect you. Rinna looked surprised. You don't even know me. I know enough. You warned me? You've stayed in chains when you didn't have to. That means something. For the first time, she looked hopeful. But then the ship shook. A loud sound echoed from above. The outer hull had been breached. Patch's voice came through the comm. Multiple hostiles boarding, armed, dangerous. Milo grabbed his blaster. They're coming. Rinna's chains pulsed, sensing danger. Milo turned to leave, but heard her voice again. Milo. He stopped. If I lose control, promise me you won't let me hurt anyone. He looked at her, then nodded. I promise. As he ran up the corridor, lights flickered wildly. The symbols on the walls glowed brighter now, as if reacting to danger. In the distance, he heard shouting, footsteps, alien voices. But beneath it all, in the back of his mind, began to hear something else. A whisper. Soft. Cold. Not human. The ship shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Metal groaned like an old beast waking from a long sleep. Milo gripped his blaster tighter as he moved through the narrow corridor. The air felt heavier now, colder, almost like the ship was alive. Patch. Report, he whispered. The drone's voice came through his earpiece, calm but urgent. 3 hostiles on board, 2 armed with pulse rifles. One is carrying scanning gear. They're heading toward the lower hold. Milo's heart raced. He had seen scavengers before. Most didn't care who they heard, as long as they found something valuable. And Rinna was more than valuable. She was power-locked in human form. They'll try to take her, Milo said to himself. He moved faster. Back in the cell, Rinna sat quietly, eyes half closed. The chains around her wrists glowed faintly. The symbols on the walls pulsed like slow heartbeats. She heard the voices too far above, drawing closer. But deeper in her mind, she heard another voice, cold, whispering, They are coming. The chains. Take control. Be free. Rinna shook her head. No. You are not one of them anymore. They fear you. Use your strength. Let go. The chains tightened around her, reacting to the growing pressure inside her chest. Her hands trembled, but she stayed still. Milo reached the upper deck just as the scavengers stepped into view. There were 3 of them, tall-armored and wearing dark helmets. Not human. Reptilian skin under tech gear. Their eyes glowed yellow behind the glass. One raised a weapon. Identify yourself. Milo didn't move. This wreck is claimed under Earth salvage law. The leader laughed, a deep crackling sound. There's something down below. Something locked. We scanned it. We want it. You can't have her, Milo said. Her. One of them chuckled. So it speaks that thing in chains. She's human. No, the leader said. Not. They raised their rifles. Milo fired first. The corridor lit up with flashes of blue energy. Milo ducked behind a metal crate. His blaster hummed as it heated, sending bursts of light toward the intruders. Patch dropped from above and let out a burst of EMP, shorting one of the scavengers' helmets. The creature screamed and fell, but the others kept coming. Milo fired. Again, hitting one in the chest. Sparks flew. The third enemy fired a grenade. The explosion knocked Milo against the wall. His vision blurred. Footsteps passed. The last two scavengers ran toward the lower hold. No, Milo shouted, struggling to get up, but he was too late. Down below, Rena opened her eyes as the door slammed open. The scavengers aimed their weapons at her, but paused. One of them stepped back. Why is she still chained? She's not even resisting, the other said. Rena looked at them with calm eyes. I told him not to free me. You should listen. They laughed. One of them raised a tool to cut the chains. The moment the tool touched the metal, a pulse of energy shot through. The room, the walls screamed. The chains glowed red. Rena gasped. The force inside her stirred. This is your moment, take it. She closed her eyes tightly. No, let go. They will never stop coming. They want to use you, hurt you, free yourself. Her hands twitched. The scavenger touched the tool to the chain again, this time. It burned, he screamed, but too late. The chain cracked open. The whisper inside her mind grew louder. Milo reached the top of the stairs, limping. His suit was torn. Smoke filled the air behind him. He rushed down the steps, heart pounding. Rena, he shouted. But he felt it before he saw it, a sudden pressure, like gravity shifting. The ship's lights went out. Only red light remained. He reached the chamber, door, and froze. One of the scavengers was on the ground, his helmet crushed. The other was stuck to the wall, held there by invisible force, gasping, choking, and Rena. She was standing now, chains broken, eyes glowing white, hair rising like she stood in a storm. She turned slowly. Her voice was two voices now hers. And something deeper, darker. I warned them. Milo raised his hand slowly. Rena, listen to me. Her eyes flickered. I didn't want this, she said, but the chain broke. Milo stepped closer. You can still fight it. You're stronger than it. The whisper inside her screamed. In rage, kill him. He is afraid. They always are.
Oh.
No, Rena whispered. Not him. The energy around her crackled. The metal floor twisted under her feet. The last scavenger tried to crawl away. Rena looked down at him, her hand raised. Milo shouted, You don't have to kill! Rena froze. Her hand trembled. Her voice returned, softer, clearer. Right, the energy faded. The scavenger dropped. It's unconscious. Rena stepped back and collapsed to her knees. The chamber lights flickered again. The symbols on the wall dimmed. Milo rushed to her side. You held it back. Rena looked at him. Tired, for now. He helped her sit against the wall. You still remember who you are, he said. I try, she whispered. Patch floated down, scanning her energy. Spike decreasing. Hostile presence suppressed. Temporary. Milo looked at the broken chains. We need to find a way to help you. A real way. Rena nodded slowly. Then we must hurry, because next time I might not win. The wrecked ship was quiet again. Milo sat on the floor beside Rena. His blaster was nearby, untouched. Patch hovered above them, its lights slowly turning blue again, signaling safety for now. The chamber smelled of burnt metal. One scavenger lay unconscious. The other two were dead. But not because of rage. Not because of revenge, because Rena stopped herself. She sat with her back against the cold wall, breathing slowly. Her eyes no longer glowed. Her hands were trembling, and she looked like a tired girl again, not a weapon. You had the power. To kill all of them, Milo said quietly. But you didn't. Rena looked at him. I wanted to, for a second. The voice inside me was screaming. It told me to destroy, to become the monster. But you didn't listen, he said. She shook her head. Not this time. Patch floated beside her, scanning. Her vitals are unstable. Energy levels rising again. She is losing control slowly. Rinna leaned her head back. Chains helped me fight the voice. Now they're gone. Milo stood. Up. We'll find something better than chains. Milo searched the scavenger's gear. One of them carried a strange device, part scanner, part recorder. He activated it. A voice played. It was not alien. It was human. If you find Subject V9, do not destroy it. Secure it. Bring it back, alive. Use force if needed. Milo clenched his jaw. This wasn't a random raid. Someone sent them. They knew about her. Arena opened. Her eyes? Then they'll keep coming. He nodded. We have to leave this ship. Patch beeped. Agreed. This place is no longer safe? Milo looked at Rinna. Can you move? She nodded weakly. Yes, but I don't know how long I'll stay myself. He offered her his hand. She took it. They made their way back up the dark corridors. The ship groaned again, as if it knew they were leaving. Lights flickered. Symbols on the walls changed shape, curling, twisting like they were alive. Rinna touched one. They weren't here before, she said. Milo looked at the glowing patterns. What do they mean? Rinna shook her head. The voice understands them. I don't. It's like they're calling to it. Patch hovered close. These symbols are not from Earth or known alien scripts. They seem organic, possibly alive. Suddenly the corridor shook violently. Warning, Patch beeped. Energy spike in the engine core. Self-destruction protocol detected. Milo's eyes widened. What? Who activated it? Patch responded. Not from this ship. Remote signal. Possibly from the same group who sent the scavengers. Rinna's voice turned cold. They don't want anyone else to find me. Milo. And Rinna rushed through the halls. Time was short. The ship would explode in minutes. They reached the docking bay. Milo's small shuttle was still intact. He helped Rinna inside and guided her to the seat. She winced as she sat. Her body shook, glowing lines faintly appearing on her skin. Patch flew to the controls. Systems online. Launching now. The shuttle engines roared to life, and they lifted off, just as the DSS Vesper exploded behind them in a burst of red fire and silent shockwaves. Milo stared out the window. The wreck was gone, but the real danger was still with them. Hours passed in space. Rinna sat quietly, watching the stars. Milo gave her water and covered her with a thermal blanket. She spoke softly. When they changed me, they said I'd be Earth's protector, weapon to fight the darkness beyond the stars. And what happened? Milo asked. They lost control. I became something they feared, something they didn't understand. So they locked me away. Milo sat beside her. But you still made a choice. She looked at him. What choice? You chose not to kill. You chose to fight the voice. You didn't have to, but you did. Her eyes filled with tears. What if I can't do it next time? Then I'll remind you who you are, Milo said firmly. You're not a monster. Your Rinna. Patch beeped. Incoming transmission, unsecured frequency. Milo moved to the control panel. The screen flashed with a logo one he didn't recognize. A red triangle inside a silver circle. Then a message played. A voice. Odd. Cold. To the pilot of the unauthorized shuttle, you are carrying dangerous property. Turn over Subject V9 or face termination. Milo shut off the message. Rinna's face was pale. They're coming for me. Milo nodded. Let them come. She looked at him with surprise. Why would you risk yourself for me? He looked back at her, serious, because you never had a choice before, but now you do. And I believe in the one who chose not to kill. Suddenly, alarms blared. Patch spun around. Trekking beacon detected. They planted it on the shuttle. Multiple ships approaching fast. Rinna stood slowly. Her eyes were glowing again, but not with rage. It's with strength. Then we stop running. She said, if I have to fight, I'll fight to protect, not destroy. Milo nodded. Together. As they prepared for battle, Milo looked at her. One last time, and in that moment, he realized something. The monster inside her was real. But so was the human, and the human was still winning. The stars outside the shuttle window looked peaceful. But inside the ship, Milo was tense. The warning from the unknown voice echoed in his head. Turn over subject V9, or face termination. They weren't bluffing. Patch scanned the map again. 3 enemy ships approaching, fast. ETA, 2 minutes. Milo stood at the control panel. Weapons online? Patch blinked. We only have pulse cannons, not enough to fight warships. Behind him, Rinna stood in silence. Her hands were clenched. Her body was calm, but her eyes glowed faintly again. They will try to take me, she said. Not because they fear me, because they want to use me. Milo turned to face her. Then we don't let them. Rinna moved to the window. She could already feel their presence. They know what I am, she whispered. To them, I'm a tool, a weapon they built and lost. Milo stepped beside her. You're not a weapon. Not anymore, Patch interrupted. Enemy ships locking target. Should we flee? Milo shook his head. They have faster drives. We can't outrun them. He looked at Rinna. You said the chains helped you fight. The voice, maybe. You don't need chains anymore. Maybe all you need is a reason. She looked at him, confused. A reason? He nodded. Something worth protecting. Eh? The ship trembled as a blast hit the outer shield. Patch spun around. Shield's at 87%. They're testing our defense. Let them test, Milo said. He turned to Rinna. You told me to run the first time. Didn't. You said you were dangerous. I stayed, and now I'm asking you, will you fight with me? Rinna looked at him for a long time. The voice inside her stirred, whispering again, tempting her with power and destruction. But Milo's words reached deeper. She nodded. Yes, but not as their creation. I fight as me. Outside, the 3 enemy ships circled the shuttle like vultures. They were sleek, black, and built for speed. At the center of their formation was a command ship. Inside that ship, a man watched the shuttle on the screen. He wore a black coat with the same red triangle logo Milo had seen earlier. His face was hard, eyes cold. Subject V9 is alive, he said. Prepare the capture units. Avoid lethal force. The asset must be returned unharmed. His officers saluted. Yes, Commander. Bring her back. Bring her back. At any cost. Back on the shuttle, Milo worked fast. He rewired the rear engine controls and connected them to a manual trigger. What are you doing? Rinna asked. A surprise, he said. If they board us, I'll overload the engine and trigger a flash burst. It'll blind them for a few seconds. Smart, Rinna said. Patch beeped. Another blast incoming. The shuttle shook again. Sparks flew. One screen went dark. Milo steadied himself. They'll try to cut in soon. We need to move. Suddenly the enemy ships stopped. Firing! A message came through. Patch translated. Surrender the subject. We will spare your life. Milo looked at Rinna. She stepped forward and answered in a calm voice. No. A few moments later, the enemy cut through the hole. Metal peeled back. With sparks and steam, 2 armored soldiers entered, weapons raised. Rinna stepped into view. Her hair flowed upward slightly, her eyes glowing bright. Stand down. One soldier shouted. She didn't move. They fired. The energy bolts hit but didn't pass. A dark field surrounded her like a living shield. The air trembled. Milo shouted now. He pressed the engine trigger. The shuttle shook violently. A burst of light exploded across the hallway. The soldiers screamed, blinded. Rinna stepped forward, raised her hand, and sent out a wave of energy. The intruders were thrown backward, unconscious. Milo ran to seal the door again. Patch, can we jump? Patch beeped quickly, calculating yes. Short-range warp possible. Nearby moon system detected. Do it, Milo said. The ship's engines roared. A bright tunnel opened in space sand. The shuttle vanished just before. The enemy fired again. They reappeared near a cold moon, orbiting a gas giant. The shuttle drifted in silence. Milo slumped in his seat. That was close. Rinna sat beside him. Her eyes slowly returned to normal. "You did it," he said. She nodded. "I almost lost control. But I remembered you. And the promise." Milo looked confused. "Promise?" She smiled slightly. "You said you'd remind me who I am." He smiled back. "And I'll keep doing it. As long as I have to." Later, as they rested in the quiet of the shuttle, Rinna spoke again. "There's something you should know." Milo looked up. "I'm not the only one," she said. "There were other subjects. Most failed. Some ... changed. And disappeared." Milo's face darkened. "Are they still out there?" Rinna nodded. "If they find me, they might try to awaken the others." Milo stood up. "Then we have to stop them. You don't have to help me," she said softly. "This isn't your fight." He looked at her seriously. "It is now." Patch floated into view. Long-range signal detected. Earth command ship approaching. Not hostile. Milo raised an eyebrow. "Earth! Command! How did they find us?" Rinna frowned. "Maybe not all humans want to use me. Maybe some want to protect." Patch blinked. "Should I respond?" Milo paused. Then he looked at Rinna. "Your choice." She stared at the stars outside the window. The voice inside her was quiet now, sleeping for the first time in years. She felt like a person, not a weapon. She turned to Patch, answered them. The Earth command ship arrived within the hour. It was large, gray, and shaped like a long blade. A bright blue emblem marked its side UEC Peace Guard. It hovered silently above Milo's small shuttle, sending only one message. "This is Captain Delra of the Earth Peace Guard. We request to speak with Subject V9. We come in peace." Milo turned to Rinna. She had been silent since the message arrived. "They say they're not here to hurt you," he said. She gave a small nod. "Words are easy, but the truth is harder." Milo stepped closer. "What do you feel?" She closed her eyes. "I feel fear, ... but not anger. The voice inside me is calm, curious." Patch floated between them. "Their ship has no weapons active. Life forms aboard appear human. No signs of deception yet." Milo touched her shoulder gently. "We'll go together." "Oh, no one touches you unless you allow it." Him. For the first time, she smiled without fear. They entered the Peace Guard ship through a secure docking ring. Inside was clean metal, soft lighting, and a group of calm officers. At the center stood Captain Delra, tall woman with short silver hair and eyes that had seen war. She didn't reach for a weapon. She simply bowed her head. "Rinna, we are late. But we are not your enemy." Rinna stepped forward slowly, unsure. "How do I know that?" Delra looked directly at her. "'Cause we lost you. And we never stopped looking, not to cage you, to fix what we broke." They sat in a quiet room, Delra explained. "Years ago, Project V9 was shut down. Many scientists responsible were arrested, but the truth was buried." Rinna listened. Her hands remained on the table, calm. Delra continued, "You were supposed to be protected, but someone moved you before the shutdown. They wanted to use you. We didn't find out until it was too late." Milo watched her carefully. "Who sent the scavengers?" Delra answered. "A private group. They call themselves the Circle. Ex-military. Rogue scientists. They believe evolved humans are the next step." "They're wrong," Rinna said softly. Delra nodded. "We agree." Patch floated close to Rinna. "Captain Subject V9 is unstable. The monster inside her is real. She struggles every hour." Delra turned to Rinna again. "We don't want to control you. We want to help you control yourself." Rinna looked down. "What if I can't? What if I break again?" Milo spoke gently. "You didn't break last time." Delra added, "There are others like you. Hidden, forgotten. Some didn't survive, but two did." Rinna's eyes widened. "Where are they?" They were taken by the circle, Delra replied. If they awaken, they won't remember being human. The room turned cold. Rinna stood up. Then I need to find them. Before it's too late, Delra hesitated. It's dangerous. If they sense you, they may pull you into the hive. The hive? Milo asked. Delra explained. It's a link. A connection between the subjects. A mental field formed from the alien tech inside them. If she gets too close, she could be trapped inside it. Rinna nodded. I felt it before, faint like voices calling me from far away. Can you resist it? Milo asked. Rinna closed her eyes. I can try, but I'll need you. Milo didn't hesitate. I'm with you. The Peace Guard ship changed course. Its scanners located an energy trail, heading toward a dark moon near the edge of known space, the hiding place of the circle. Rinna stood at the window watching the stars blur past. Inside her, the voice had returned, but this time it didn't whisper threats. It asked only one question. Why are you protecting them? She answered in her mind. Because I choose to? The voice didn't fight back. It listened. The ship arrived at the dark moon. It was covered in black clouds, lightning flashing deep within the atmosphere. Delra turned to Rinna and Milo. They're down there. The other. 2 subjects. We can't approach without waking them. Milo looked at Rinna. What happens if they wake up? They won't see us as friends, she said. They won't remember love or kindness. Milo held her hand. Them, like you reminded me. They descended in a smaller ship, guided by Patch. The ground below was dead and dry. The only structure visible was a black tower, sharp like a knife sticking out of the land. Inside the tower, the walls pulsed with strange symbols, the same ones that grew on the prison ship. Rinna stepped forward. They're here. Suddenly, the floor shook. 2 shapes stepped from the shadows. Both were once human. One had metal arms, the other glowing red veins running through her skin. Her eyes were pure white. They didn't speak. They didn't ask. They attacked. Rinna didn't fight. Back! She raised her hands. You know me? I was like you. I still am. One of them sent a wave of energy crashing toward her. She flew back, but stayed standing. Milo aimed his blaster, but she stopped him. No. Let me try. She stepped forward again. The floor cracked under her feet. The voice inside her rose. Fight them. Destroy them. You are stronger. But Rinna whispered, No. I choose another way. She opened her mind. She let them in. She let them feel what she felt, the pain, the fear, the loneliness. In the choice to protect instead of destroy, the 2 stopped. Their energy dropped. One of them looked at her. Rinna. She nodded. Yes, you remember. The red veins began to fade. The storm outside began to calm, later inside the ship again. Milo stood beside Rinna as she looked out at the stars. You did it, he said. You woke the monster. God. But you didn't let it win. Rinna turned to him. The monster is still there. But now it listens. Milo smiled. Then maybe. It's not a monster anymore. She didn't answer. But her smile said everything. The Peace Guard ship floated silently above the dark moon. Inside, Rinna stood near the observation window, her eyes closed. Her breath was calm. Her thoughts were clear for the first time in years. The 2 other subjects, once lost to madness, now rested in recovery chambers. As the mental hive they were trapped in was broken, because Rinna had spoken to them not with power, but with memory. She had reminded them they were human. Milo entered the room quietly. His arm was wrapped in a healing band from the battle in the Black Tower. He stood beside her, watching her face. You look different, he said softly. Rinna opened her eyes. I feel different. Peaceful. She gave a small nod. Maybe for now. The voice is still there, but it's quiet. Like it's waiting. Waiting for what? He asked. For my final choice, she said. Later in the meeting room, Captain Delra showed a message from Earth Command. The circle has been dismantled, but traces of their tech remain, or hybrid experiments may exist. We asked Subject V9s to return to Earth for full study and protection. Del returned off the screen. It's your decision, Rinna. No one will force you. Rinna looked at the screen for a long moment. Then she said, if I return, they'll try to control me again, or fear me. Delra nodded. Some will. Milo stepped forward. You don't owe Earth anything, but if you go, maybe you can help prevent the next mistake. Rinna turned to the two other subjects now healing, stable, and quiet. They need a guide, she said. Someone who understands what it feels like to be both human and something else. A patch floated into view. You are the first to survive and choose peace. Your mind is strong. Others may follow if led with care. Rinna whispered, then I will lead. Not as a weapon, not as a subject, as a person. The Peace Guard ship traveled to Earth. It took 3 days. On the 3rd day, Rinna dreamed again. But this time, she didn't dream of chains, fire, cold voices. She dreamed of standing in sunlight. She dreamed of her mother's voice, a memory so old, she had almost forgotten it. Even the strongest storm must listen when the heart speaks. She woke up smiling. When they arrived at Earth's orbit, the world below looked calm and blue. Peace Guard ships escorted them toward a new station built high above the surface. It was not a prison. It was a place of study, care, and understanding. Inside the station, Rinna stood before a large group of scientists, Peace Guard officers, and Earth leaders. She said only one thing, I am not here to destroy. I am here to heal. But only if you stop fearing what you created. Some clapped, some stayed silent, some turned away, but most listened, and that was enough. Weeks passed. Rinna helped build the first hybrid recovery program, not just to watch those like her, but to teach them. To help them remember who they were before the darkness, Milo stayed at her side. He became her link to the world she had once lost. Together, they visited planets where strange signals called from old labs. Together, they brought back others like hers, some damaged, some dangerous, but all still holding a piece of what it meant to be human. One day, as they returned from another rescue, stood in the same shuttle where it all began. She touched the metal wall where once her chains had held her. Milo stepped beside her. What are you thinking? Oh. She looked at him. When you found me? Oh. I told you not to free me. I believed that only the chains kept the monster inside. And now? He asked. Now, she said with a gentle smile, I know it wasn't the chains, it was choice. She looked at him with soft eyes. You gave me that choice. Milo smiled. You made it. The stars outside blinked like fireflies. Rinna looked at them not with fear, but with hope. Because she had once been chained. She had once been called a monster. But now, she had chosen to become something stronger. Not a weapon, not a project, not a mistake, but a voice that could guide others out of the dark. And in the silence between stars, the monster inside her listened. It did not fight. It did not rage. It simply whispered.